Bonjour à tous, hello everyone, how are you doing? Welcome back fellow adventure seekers. Welcome to Lofoten, one of the paradise for landscape photography. Now, if it is such a paradise, what am I doing inside the car? Well, let me explain you.
I landed in Tromsø 3 days back after a major snowstorm. And this is how I found my rental car to start with. What a surprise. Subhadeep joined me the next day, all the way from India, all excited with loads of snow. Little that he knew that this excitement is not very long lasting. After a good lunch, as expected, our car got completely covered with a thick layer of snow. And he took the charge to clean it up. I was still wondering how long this excitement would last. And I can tell you, it didn't last very long. For the next 3 days, we were stuck in the room without a single second of break in snow and gala wind. We had to clean the snow every time we wanted to go out to be able to open the door properly. We thought we would get buried under snow. We were waiting for the Tromsø cable car to open, but that didn't really happen. So we started our journey south to our main destination, Lofoten. The road was a mess, and on the 5th day, the snowfall still continues and the wind is still relentless. The forecast of Lofoten is still not favorable, but we still ventured into the long drive with the hope of a miracle. After a very long drive and a stop at Harstad, we finally reached the stunning guest house Solbakken of Rene. Clearly we traveled a lot, but the weather remained the same. To our surprise, we coincidentally booked the same guest house where other 3 fellow photographers, Mavic Gandhi, Abhishek Patra and Abhishek De were staying. Yeah, I know, it was confusing with 3 Abhishek at the same place.
Being said that, we did have a lovely day today and we did manage to do some lovely photography as well. So, let me take you to a visual journey.
In last 6 days, for the first time, we have a promising forecast. So we went out even before it got better. We were at the peak of desperation. It was very clear that we wouldn't have everything that we planned for. It was also clear that we need to take shortcuts and prioritize our locations. After losing 6 days in a 2-week trip, we started replanning everything. Eventually, after waiting several days, our photography journey finally started with the famous Yellow House. Next stop, which is just next to the Yellow House, is the most photographed location of Lofoten. We ended the evening with the famous footbridge composition. By the time we finished, it started snowing heavily again. But the forecast for the night was good, and I kept watching the sky every 30 minutes after midnight. As soon as it cleared up, we went out hunting for the greens. And we were gifted with the glittering light we came for. This is the day. Needless to say, we are very happy, but we have a lot to cover in quick time. Because the weather will soon turn south again. forecasted, the weather has turned to standard Norwegian. At least, we had a good few hours of light after 6 days of waiting.
That's it. Our time at this beautiful town of Hanoi is over. We have got some good shots, some moody lights, some dusk with the snowy mountain. Yeah, I would have been more than happy to get some fiery skies, but yeah, I will probably settle for this. We also got a night of northern light. Would have been nice to get more nights of northern light, but the way the trip started, first 3 days kind of completely wasted with snow and rain. I would probably say we have done something. Now we will go towards north, towards Tromsø, and we'll find out a location for the evening shots today. I have not decided yet because the weather is still a bit unpredictable, so probably close to evening it will be a little bit more certain, and I will find out a place. We have a camper, so we could in principle stay wherever we want. But so far, due to the bad weather, we did not stay a single night in the camper, and we stayed mostly in the hotels and guest houses. Let's see. So yeah, let's hit the road, and we'll provide you the rest of the information on the way. See you soon.
Next destination is Leknes, and on the way we will do some photo stopovers. Subodhip would leave Norway in a couple of days. So Leknes is a good connecting airport to get to Tromsø and get the international connections. First stop is the famous red cottage of Ramberg Beach. More snow forced us to skip the famous Kagsanden beach. We headed north. Let's go more north. Finally, we reached the famous Henningsvær football ground, which is known as one of the most beautiful football grounds in the world. And for the right reason. The surrounding is just spectacular. When the ground is surrounded by snow, but not covered, the view is just otherworldly.
We reached the famous Dragon Eye. You can see there is a little rock inside the water. Looks like the eye of dragon. Very famous composition of this place. The idea is that taking some picture of the sunset, and today the forecast is pretty good for northern light, so hopefully we'll get some clear sky and some dancing auroras. So yeah, stay tuned and we'll show you if we manage to find some good pictures.
Next destination is Ottertind. Completely unexpected plan. Subodhip was supposed to catch a flight and I was supposed to stay at Leknes. But the forecast is a clear sky at untamed, where we intended to start our trip from. So the plan changed. Subhadeep dumped his flight ticket and I dumped the hotel. We started a long drive in the hope of some good light.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today we came to a special place, Ottertinden. Actually, we were planning to stay a little bit longer in Lofoten, but we had enough of bad weather, cloud and snow. Subhadeep is calling it an end. He is leaving tomorrow. So he said that maybe we should leave the region of Tromsø and come a little bit farther before leaving. And this place is a little bit farther from Tromsø, so there is no light pollution and stuff. The forecast says that we will have a good northern light today, but here the forecast is so unpredictable. We do not know. We see what will happen. In fact, I also had enough of the bad weather in Norway. So I'm also cutting my trip. I will probably go back in a couple of days, cutting short my trip like 4 days. But we have tonight and hopefully we get some good light. So stay tuned and we figure out if we get some light or not. Good morning. Wow. Last couple of nights were absolutely amazing. Honestly speaking, the trip would have been a complete waste without those beautiful northern lights last 2 nights that we have experienced. But the weather is again going back to its standard, means a lot of snow and cloud and wind. Subhadeep has already left. I dropped him off at the airport. He was like, okay, it doesn't make sense to stick around. The weather will be pretty bad again, so let's not waste the holidays. I will leave tomorrow as well. We initially planned to stay till Sunday for 2 weeks, but we are kind of calling it off in like 10 days. I do not know if the weather always stays like that here or we are just not lucky. I know it's Arctic, so the weather can be unpredictable, but it was a little bit too much. I mean, like 3 days of constant snowfall or 3-4 days and you don't see a single piece of the sky and all. We are not impressed, I would say that. Now, we did have pockets of good weather and some moody lights and beautiful northern light nights, like 2.5 days of that. And that was really the highlight and we enjoyed it a lot and we have shared that with you. We hope that you experienced and enjoyed it the same way as we did. And if you did so, please give us a thumbs up. That really means a lot to us. And if you have not done it already, please subscribe and press that bell icon to get notification of our upcoming adventures. So, ciao for now and see you at another corner of the world. Till then, keep exploring. Subhadeep already asked me that I should probably take the flight today itself, but I told him that no, I will probably go back to Tromsø and take the cable car and go up and photograph the city of Tromsø from the top. Because at night with all the lights of the city, it looks pretty good. But it's for the 3rd time the cable car is closed because of high wind. Honestly, the wind is not that high, but it's picking up. That's why probably they closed it. I don't know what. So I have some time now to explain you a little bit some controversial discussions that we had among our photography groups. So I will give you kind of my take on my trip to Norway, and it's solely my opinion. You can always criticize that or ignore it or whatever. So what I found is that if you are looking for only a chance to see the northern light itself and you have no photography aspiration or no aspiration that you want a good landscape to take the picture with, then probably Norway is not the best place. It's a little bit more exotic because you can go to those remote places where there are mountains which are like nicely shaped and all. But the weather stays so unpredictable and the places are so far away that you can't really see the weather forecast and go to a location, because normally for a good 2, 3, 4, 500 kilometers range, the weather stays unpredictable, right? On top of that, they do not have any local weather forecast that is quite accurate. Most of the weather forecasts that we used are like normal windy and meteo blue and all this stuff, and they were very unpredictable. They're always like half cloud and half sun. Means they have no clue what's gonna happen. They're like, okay, guys, and then you go there. The day they say it is not, it is cloudy, it is sunny. That they say it is sunny, it is cloudy. You can't really see anything and understand anything. So you go there very much like a blind luck and just find out. In that respect, I found Iceland being much more friendly for photography. Yeah, it's a little bit common subjects that you will get. Here you can probably do something a little bit more creative, even though there are still many photographers in Norway who has photographed most of the locations. But in Iceland, if you get a patch of good weather, you can probably take like 5 pictures with completely different foreground, completely different subjects. And the weather forecast is very local. So within like 50, 100 kilometers, you can have pockets of bright sky where you can see the northern light, and 50 kilometers later, there is a hailstorm going on. On top of that, the best part is that their weather forecast app, this vedur.is, is extremely accurate within 8 hours. If they say it is sunny, you can close your eyes and go there. I mean, for me, I've spent now for at least like 3 months in Iceland, and I have found like that forecast is like 95% accurate if you're checking that like within 4, 5, 8 hours, right? Okay, if you're checking what will happen in a week, it's of course changes, but within 3, 4, 5 hours, it's pretty accurate, and you can actually go from one region to another in Iceland and do some photography. But that was not the case for Norway. I mean, we spent like days sitting on the home and not even taking the camera out. And in Iceland, normally you wait and the weather changes. The weather is never raining and dull forever. It's like you always get some pockets within a day if you follow the weather. But here it was like we didn't even see sun for almost 5 days, right? And it didn't stop snowing for a single second. Again, I do not know whether it was only us or like only our luck, or it is exactly like that. I mean, we have seen before we came, all the snow melted, everything was gone. People were like taking picture with no snow there. When it came here, it like within a few days, it was 20 centimeters snow. So yeah, it was not super enjoyable. Now for me, there are some interesting locations that I want to photograph, but next time what I will do is that I will plan at the last moment. I will check the weather forecast of next 2-3 days and plan at the last moment. I'll probably take 1 or 2 days off and just book the flight and come here. I don't stay very far. I stay nearby. It's only 4 hours flight to Zurich from here. So it is possible for me, but if you're coming from far where you have to book a much bigger international flight, that can be very difficult and very expensive. And if you have to take a visa to get here, that's almost impossible. You cannot get a visa in 4 days. So in that respect, I found that if you are a photographer and you have not visited Iceland, it's probably worth going to the Iceland more than coming to Norway. Even though in Iceland the chances of seeing aurora is a little bit less because it's a bit south from here. But in next 2-3 years, you know, the aurora is so strong that you can more or less get it from anywhere, right? After that, things would be a little bit different. But if you are just a tourist who wants to only see the northern light and have no interest on having a good foreground or good subject to do photography, then probably Norway is fine for you. You can take one of those bus trips. They follow the weather. They have many places, so they can take you to a place where there is a pocket of northern light, which is like a little hole on the cloud, and you can actually see and experience northern light once in your life. Now, if that is the case, then why would you only come to Norway? I mean, you can go to Finland. The Lapland normally stays a little bit more stable from weather point of view because it's not on the coast. Because in the coastal places the weather are a little bit more unpredictable, whereas the Lapland of Finland, being a bit landlocked, is a little bit more predictable. But still, in the winter in Arctic, the weather is never predictable. But you probably have more options than coming to Norway. Anyway, I keep that out because a lot of people ask me that why would you not go to Iceland, or why do you not go to Norway, this and that and that. So I thought that I will provide like my opinion on it. Again, I will again stamp that it is completely my opinion based on my experience of visiting Iceland extensively and spending like 10 days in Norway, the most like stunning photo locations of Norway or northern Norway. Okay, I didn't go to the southern Norway where there are much more better landscapes and big mountains, because that's probably much better in summer where you can do all those hikes, and I definitely have it in plan to come back in summer and do all those hikes. But between Tromsø and Lofoten region and Ottertinden and then Senja and all those, I was not super impressed with the weather, and I did not feel that from photography point of view it will give you the similar appeal that Iceland could give you. I mean, you want to make your trip of Iceland a little bit more exotic, you can always go to the highland, but for that you need to go with some of the guides, because my car lights are switching off. I don't know why. I probably need to keep the engine on, or at least battery on. Yeah, I need to put the batteries on. It's already very windy outside, so I would have done this outside, but I think as there is nothing to say here or nothing to see here outside, it's pretty pale, and I'm just doing some blah blah, is talking. It is probably makes sense to stay in the warmth of the car. Anyway, so that was my take on Norway. I will probably come once to photograph some of those locations with Northern Light with a last moment plan, so that I get no disappointment of the bad weather. But if you have not visited, if you're a photographer and you have not visited Iceland, I would recommend you visit Iceland in next 1 or 2 years, or 3 years probably, and experience those landscapes with the Northern Light. And if you are coming and visiting both, I would tell you that you first come to Norway and then go to Iceland, because if you see those landscapes of Iceland, once you come back to Norway, you will not feel the same way. Again, don't kill me for that. That is again completely my own opinion. You might think things differently. If you are happy to take a picture of Northern Light only looking at the sky, like a lot of people stay happy by taking picture only of the sunset or only of the Milky Way at the night, it's fine. You will enjoy both the places, because you will see Northern Light in almost anywhere, Finland or Norway or Denmark, northern Denmark or Iceland, Greenland, wherever you go, northern Russia, Canada, whatever. But if you are really looking for taking a Northern Light picture with a proper subject, natural or man-made subject, then probably you have more chances in Iceland than in Norway. I guess this will help you decide your next photo trip of Northern Light. Ciao, ciao.